everybody, welcome back to Homestead Heart, and today we are canning lamb stew. Now, although I'm canning lamb, if you prefer beef, if you prefer chicken, if you prefer turkey, use that, okay? But I am making stew, and today my preference is the lamb. So now I already have my lamb here. Now, the lamb that I am using here, look at there. It's already been cubed. They did it for us at the market. It's already been cubed. And we are using the leg, okay? You can use the shoulder, the butt, or whatever piece you want. But we are using the leg, okay? Now, we are also using some Yukon Gold potatoes. If you use potatoes and you leave the skins on, be sure you scrub these potatoes good, okay? Really scrub them good. I have some celery chopped up already. I have onion already. I have some carrots right here that I've already chopped up. I have my garlic. I'm using minced garlic in the jar, and I'm using some tomato paste. Now, what you can do, you can use tomatoes if you like, okay? But what I'm using is tomato paste, and it's just 2 little cans of tomato paste with equal parts water that I have already, let me show you. I've already mixed it. See what I'm saying? So I'm just using this. And the spices that I'm using is white pepper, my Tony Satchers, my Cajun seasoning, which is my favorite, and some kosher salt. All right? So that is all the spices that I am putting in this lamb stew. So let's go ahead and put it together and get started. Almost forgot. You're also going to need some stock, okay? So whether you use lamb stock, chicken stock, beef stock, vegetable stock, it doesn't matter. Whatever you want to use, you're going to need some of that, okay? So I have that in a pot right here, and I'm just going to be ladling that in over the food once it's all in the jars. But first, we got to get it put together. So y'all, come on, let's go ahead and get this show on the road. If you're new to canning, it might help you to have some canning tools, like your jar lifter, your debubbler, your funnel, and maybe your lid magnet if it comes in your kit, okay? So, and you're going to need some vinegar. The vinegar is going to be used to clean the rims of your jars, and it's also going to be used to add to the water in the canner. And that way, if you have hard water, it'll keep your jars from clouding up. So now I think I've done all of the housekeeping rules. Let's go ahead and get started. The thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to add some lamb to this, and I'm going to add the amount of lamb that I want to have in each jar, and I'm doing it based upon the size of the pieces. I am putting about, 4, maybe 5 pieces in the bottom of the jar. Depending on it, again, it's going to depend on the size, okay? That's another one. Y'all hear my roosters all the way in the house crowing out there? I'm telling you, they on fire today. All right. And this is a cold pack, you all. That means none of the ingredients that I'm putting in the jar are hot. None of them are hot. They're all cold, okay? So keep that in mind. This is a cold pack. Now, if you just wanted to make up a batch of stew and then put it all hot in the jar, you can do that too. But boy, is this super fast to do it this way. So I got the lamb in the jar. Now I'm going to sprinkle in some celery. And this is all based upon what you like. You don't have to add the celery at all, okay? But I'm adding a little bit of celery to these jars. Next, I'm going to add some potatoes, okay? And in the jar they are going, as much as or as little as you like when it comes to this. This is so much fun because when you're doing it this way, I mean, literally, you can do whatever you like, right? So, let's get this in here. All of the potatoes in the jars. That might be a few too many. And I'm just checking it to see. Maybe I need to add a few more potatoes. I don't know. So far, that's where we are. Okay? All right. Now, I'm going to come back and add some onion to the jar, okay? And I'm just putting some onion over the top. Again, if you don't like onion, don't use it. If you love onion, use a lot. Just make sure that whatever you put in this jar, you leave a 1-inch headspace, okay? Now I'm going to add in a few pieces of carrot to the jar. Just to each one. I mean, what is a stew without carrots, right? Look at how simple this is. Just look at that. Going in, super easy, right? So far, that's where we are, okay? Now, I am going to add in my spices. I am going to start with 1/8 of a teaspoon of white pepper. You can use cayenne pepper, black pepper, whatever kind of pepper you prefer, okay? That's what you can use. That's 1/8 of a teaspoon. I'm also going to use a 1/2 teaspoon of my Tony Citrus. And Tony Citrus has some red pepper in it already, a little bit of cayenne in it already, so that's pretty good. I'm also going to use 1/8 of a teaspoon of the minced garlic. We love a lot of garlic, so yeah. Let's get that garlic in here. Okay, and then I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of the pink Himalayan sea salt. Just a teaspoon right over the top. Okay. And last, well, next to last, I'm going to add in that tomato, okay? I'm going to put a nice big heaping tablespoon of this tomato paste right over the top of each one of these jars. Nice big heaping tablespoon, okay? So far, that's where we are, okay? Now, I'm going to take my broth that I have in my little pot over here. It's not hot. In fact, it's some broth that I canned up. And so I'm just going to take the broth now. I'm going to need my funnel for this step. Actually, I'm going to use a different funnel for this. That little funnel right there goes down in the jar. I'm going to use a funnel that sits over the top. That's going to make this so much easier. It's going to make this process easy. It's just going to sit right over the top of the jar. I'm going to grab my broth and I'm going to ladle that in. And again, I'm leaving a 1-inch headspace here. Now you can make your broth out of bouillon. If you have bouillon and you want to use like a better than bouillon to make a broth, then you can do that as well, okay? So if you don't have the home canned stuff, that's fine. Use what you got. Right now, the only thing that matters is you get it canned, right? You get canned. That's all that matters, get canned. All right, so now I'm going to take my debubbler here. It's this funnel right there. And I am going to debubble. I'm going to go around this jar and just make sure I remove any air pockets, okay? You do not want to forget this step. In the very next video that I'm going to do, I'm going to show you why it is so important to debubble your jars. You don't want to miss that, okay? That's very important. I'm going to show you why. You don't want to miss this step right here. Now that I've released the air pockets from this jar, if the liquid has fallen below that 1-inch headspace, I'm just going to come back and bring it right back up. That's it. Just add a little liquid. That's it. Now, another important step. You want to make sure you wipe the rims of your jars. I have a paper towel here with a little bit of vinegar. Yes, I do. And I'm just going to go over the rims of my jars. Okay? Wipe them good. And if you're new to canning, you also want to go over the rims of your jars with your finger real gently before you start canning. You just want to make sure that your jars are not cracked or nicked in any way, okay? So, all right. So that's good. I'm going to grab my magnet. Grab me some lids to put on these jars. I need to bring this closer. There we go. Okay, then I'm going to grab my bands and we're going to put these on fingertip tight, okay? And again, everything is cool that's going in these jars. Everything. All right. And this is our lamb stew. And these are pint-sized jars, and they are going in the canner. All right, let's do it again. All right, so again, I'm going to add some lamb to each one of my jars according to how many pieces I want in each jar and the size, okay? Just getting it in there. Okay, see that? That's what that looks like. And this is a pint-sized jar again. So I'm doing these smaller jars because this could be served over rice, okay? Getting a little more lamb in the jars. Gonna add some celery. And I'm not measuring this, okay? All right, I'm gonna slide these jars out the way because now I need to cut up a potato. And no, I'm not cutting my potatoes all the way up before I get the jar ready because I don't want my potatoes to turn dark and be ugly, okay? So I cut them as I need them. More potatoes in that jar. Some in this jar. Oops. Make it a mix. Okay. Gonna add one more potato, or half a potato, to that jar. Yeah. Okay. Now that I have all my potatoes in the jar, I'm going to come back and I'm going to add some onion to this. To each one. As little or as much as you like. I'm going to add some carrots. Oops. Okay. Now that I have all of the carrots in the jars, y'all see that? Y'all see what they look like? That's them. Okay? Now I'm going to come back and I'm going to add my seasonings to this. I'm going to add my 1/8 of a teaspoon of white pepper right over the top. I don't want it to be too spicy. Going to add my 1/4 of a teaspoon of Tony seasoning. That's Tony Satura's. I'm going to also add a 1/4 of a teaspoon of minced garlic. Okay. And then I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of the Himalayan sea salt. Now, if you don't have the pink Himalayan sea salt, you can use the kosher salt, or you can use canning and pickling salt. But you don't want to use salt with iodine in it, okay? The iodine will definitely turn the color of that water and really make your product look awfully ugly. So don't use salt with iodine in it, okay? So now that I have all of my spices in the jar, I'm going to go back and add in my tomato, and I'm going to put a heaping tablespoon of tomato in here. If you love tomato, then you can put 2 heaping tablespoons of tomato in here, okay? Just like this, okay? All right. So now that I have the tomato in the jar, those look good. Those look absolutely great. Now I'm going to come back and I'm going to ladle in my broth, okay? Let's get it ladled in. 1-inch head space. I think I'm there. My broth is not hot. Straight out of the canning jar into the pot. All right. And last jar. Okay. Set that to the side. Going to debubble my jars. Put that back down in there like so. I got 1 carrot too many. I'm going to lay that over there. Debubble. Just get it back down in the jar. Okay. All right. Now we're going to take our paper towel. We're going to take our vinegar. We're going to dip this towel in a little bit of vinegar and squeeze off the excess, okay? Then I'm going to go around the rims of my jar, making sure the rims of the jar are clean. Do that to each jar. Making sure there's nothing on the rims to keep my jars from sealing. All right, and once those rims are good and clean, I'm going to come back. I'm going to grab one of my lids, and right over the jar, onto the jar it goes. Come on. Make sure that you don't have more than one lid, because sometimes we pick up two with this magnet. Make sure you only have one lid per jar. That's it. Grab my ring, put that on fingertip tight. One more. And that's that. I am going to need another rack. Voila. This has to go over the top of my other jars because the bottom is already full. So now I need to stack my jars. To all of my newbies canning, when you have a pressure canner, sometimes your pressure canner is large enough that you can double stack your jars, okay? But you want to make sure that you read the instructions in your canner to make sure that it's safe to do that. Now, I've gotten that question, can I do that in a water bath canner? No, you cannot stack jars in a water bath canner, okay? Can't do it. But in the pressure canner, as long as your canner says it's okay, you can double stack your pints, all right? And maybe even your quarts. If you got that gigantic All-American, you can do quarts too. But mine will permit me to do pints. How easy it is to put this together, right? So easy. This is cold packed. My jar is cold. The water in my canner is cold. Everything in the in the jar is cold. This is so easy, and this is a pint size, and we're going to serve this over rice when you need it, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to can the rice too. What? You also, as you can see, my canner is loaded, okay? I have 16 pints in this bin, and I am going to get the fire turned on, but first I'm going to get my lid put on. I always check and make sure that little nipple there is loose. There's nothing clogging up my vent pipe, and my gasket is good because I can easily seal my lid. See how easy that lid go on? See, if that gasket needed to be oiled, you would be like, trying to really force it on, right? But look, one hand. Boom. So that's ready to go. Gonna get this fire on. Gonna crank this baby up on high heat because we got to get this canner to start building up some pressure. Y'all stay tuned. Newbies, I'm gonna bring you back and I'm gonna show you. Once this canner starts to build up pressure, it's gonna start a process called venting. And once it starts venting, it's going to start pushing air through the vent pipe out of the canner, okay? But what we're going to be looking for is a steady flow of steam. And I will show you that, okay, in just a few moments, because you need to let this vent before you go any further. So y'all stay tuned. So I forgot to bring you all back to show you the venting process. But if you've watched any of my other pressure canning videos, I show you what venting looks like. I show you step by step that process. So this is vented for 10 minutes already, and I've already put on my little pressure regulator right there, okay? So now my canner has already built up to pressure. I'm at 11 pounds of pressure and holding. Now what I do is once it starts building up pressure and it gets to where I want it, I will slowly reduce my heat to hold it there, okay? Now if my heat is not low enough, this gauge will keep climbing and I'll just keep reducing it until I get it to where it wants to be. So I am canning pint-sized jars of stew. And although I have vegetables in the canner that can or process for different times, I have meat in here as well. And meat has the longest processing time of everything that's in the jar. So I have to process the entire jar the same processing time as if I was canning the meat only. So for the pints, that's going to be 75 minutes. If I were canning quarts with the stew meat, I would can the quarts for 90 minutes, okay? 75 minutes for pints, 90 minutes for quarts. Are done processing. They have processed for 75 minutes, and it is now time to get them out of the pressure canner. Before I do that, one of our subscribers, actually a few of them, asked me, what is this that I was using to take these out of the pot? This is a lid magnet. It takes the lids out of your water when you're simmering your lids, if you simmer your lids, so you don't stick your hands in the hot water to grab your lid. This grabs it for you so you can just easily, well, pop it on the jar, okay? So that's what this is. It's called a lid magnet, okay? Handy little tool. Now let's go ahead and get these babies out of the canner. I'm going to open this canner, and you always hear me say this. Open the lid away from you so you do not burn off that beautiful face of yours with all of that steam, okay? So let's go ahead and get these jars out of the canner. Take off my pressure regulator. My gauge is down to 0. The nipple is down in the back. There's no pressure in the canner, so I can safely take off that regulator and open my lid. I'm going to open it and release it. Give it a second. And then I'm going to open this lid away from me. Okay? Just like that. See all that steam? Yeah, you don't want that in your face. Let's get the jars out of the canner. They're already beginning to seal. Look at that delicious stew. I'm going to show you. Ooh-wee. This smells so good. I'm going to sit this one right here. And last one. Wow, that smells so good and delicious. Okay, I'm going to show you. Look at that. That smells so good. That lamb smells so delicious. Look at that. I don't know what else to say. Just look at that. That is going to do it for our lamb stew. Man, it just smells so good. And you can tell the difference in the jars that I put like the 2 scoops of tomato versus the one because it's a little darker. But y'all know tomatoes will help tenderize meat, right? So when you put tomato in beef or lamb, that acid in that tomato helps to tenderize that meat. It be just so good. So that's going to do it for today. I hope you all enjoyed this video on how I can my lamb stew. And if you did, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single video that we upload to our channel. Now, I'll mention this. We have a food preservation playlist. So if you want to know how to can potatoes, if you want to know how to can meat, all of that is in the food preservation playlist. So be sure you all check that playlist out, okay? All right, you all, that's going to do it. Thank you so much for watching Homestead Heart. Peace and blessings to each and every one of you, and I'll see you in the next video.